Perhaps I can rephrase the question so it'll just be a simple yes or no answer and we can move on, because I don't want to cause disruption in this committee. So let me just rephrase that question.
I think he's in the middle of his answer.
I promise, in fact, my answer may satisfy
Mr. Valloret,
sorry.
please.
I may satisfy your answer. Those decisions about policy and what poses risk is made by our government. The mistake we made is we separated basically the men from the women. We didn't provide for education. The circumstances at that time were suboptimal, and they had an impact on the health of those children. I'm just asking that...
I understand you're giving us a historical background.
No.
Just a minute.
James,
I understand completely.
Ms. James,
yes, Chair.
You've got to let him finish. You asked a question. He's in the middle of his answer. Just calm down and let him finish.
I only have a set number of minutes, and I would like to get a yes or no answer on my particular question.
You're obviously not going to get
specific.
that. Ms. James, I'm going to keep in. I'm not going to stop the clock. So let him finish. Go ahead.
And basically, the decision as to the risk and what steps have to be taken have to be left to the elected officials who are sitting around this room. We're asking that if you have to impose these conditions and you believe it is a risk to the community, that you keep in mind how vulnerable children are and take steps to protect them. If you are going forward with Bill C-51, we have made recommendations that if this is the request and that this is the appropriate course of action this government decides, please keep children in mind when you're housing them.
Thank
Education
you.
and all those things.
I commend you for your concern about the child. As a parliamentarian, I'm concerned about the child as well, but I'm also concerned about Canada as a nation and the Canadian citizens that I'm responsible to. So again, my question to you, sir, do you think that if one of those persons who had a child with them that we could not identify, should they be released into the general community and be integrated without the government knowing exactly who this person is? It's really a simple yes or no answer. In this particular case, just a simple case. I'm just not getting an answer.
The answer to that is...
Anybody should be restricted to a yes or no answer when there's more context that needs to be given to the question.
I received the context.
Can I just say, Mr. Chair,
and I'm not
Mr. Chair, I've treated the children of murderers. Sir.
No.
I can't read one word? Why?
Because I'm dealing with Mr. Valloret, and you guys have to wait until I finish with one point of order and another point of order. Your turn will come.
Fine.
Have you finished?
Yes, sir, I have.
Mr. Dijkstra.
I would just like to know, sir, if one of the members is going to raise a point of order, that they raise a point of order, not just determined to put their hand up and try to tell you how to chair this meeting.
Mr. Opitz.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, but you've had example when Mr. Lamoureux was here. He oftentimes stops his witness and says, look, I only got 5 minutes. I want to redirect my question. And you allow it. And when Ms. James is doing that, you don't allow her the same courtesy. I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, you're out of order.
Do you want to join in, Mr. Meningakis?
I'd just like to continue now, Mr. Chair.
I would too. I forget where we were. Ms. James.
I was simply trying to determine whether you felt someone who was unidentified, who the government of Canada did not know who they were, whether they posed a security risk or not, whether they should be released out into the general populace.
The answer would be, in terms of the general populace, what we haven't discussed, and that would be a whole other presentation, under what circumstances would they be released into the community so that their children could participate in those activities but not lose sight of the particular individuals.
Okay. I'm not going to be able to get an answer, but I have to tell you my responsibilities as a parliamentarian and responsible to the Canadian taxpayer and my constituents of Scarborough Centre. I believe that we should err on the side of caution and not on the side of ignorance. So I think